Badlands, running the Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, the Russians.
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots. Their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. Hope you guys are having a great week. Chris and Patrick, how are my boys doing?
Better than ever. I'm just having a great day, and each day is better than the last. Thank you for asking, John.
Wow. You're saying that even 10 days before the biggest, scariest day, Patrick?
I know I'm going to be a little bit of a bitch that day. Nevertheless,
right now you're doing great. Okay.
Thank you.
In spite of that shirt and everything. It's crazy, man.
I wear it just for you, John.
Maybe because of that shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. Maybe I need some more floral arrangement shirts in my
clearly
life.
Do.
Chris, you never said how the horrors are.
They persist. So do I. My connection's a little jumpy. I'll probably reset all that while you guys do the ads. But anyhow, yes, I'm good.
Okay, well, we can do that right now if you'd like.
If you want.
There we go.
Okay, we weren't going to do any ads at all tonight. I just want to say that. But then Chris's connection got jumpy, and now we're forced to. So we'll do that right now. Let's start with a little Field of Greens, Patrick.
Absolutely. You resolved to get healthier this year? Great. How are you going to do it? Supplements? Okay. Some green fruit and vegetable drink? Fine. But ask yourself, do any of those promise better health? Nope. What's the point of green drinks and health supplements if you aren't 100% confident they'll improve your health? The Field of Greens Better Health Promise makes it radically different. Listen to this. Enjoy a delicious Field of Greens drink each day, and at your next checkup, your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. How in the world can Field of Greens promise better health? Because each fruit and vegetable was doctor selected for a specific health benefit. There's a heart health group, lungs and kidney groups, metabolism, even healthy weight. One drink a day is all it takes. You'll look and feel healthier with more energy fast, and your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. Get 20% off your first order with code JOHN, J-O-N, at fieldofgreens.com. That's code JOHN, J-O-N, at fieldofgreens.com, fieldofgreens.com.
Awesome. Patrick, we have an offer for you from the chat. Oh, I lost it. Dang it. Somebody was offering their left nut for the opportunity to polish your head.
Duh. I will take your left nut. And
it was Quantum XXX. So come to a GART. Mm-hmm. Remind us who you are. Patrick will definitely let you do that. And okay, let's do our second sponsor.
All right.
Oops. There we go.
If you can't remember the last time you slept all night or didn't feel stressed during the day, you need to hear about CBD from CB Distillery. They've got natural solutions for sleep and stress that people can't stop raving about. Check out some of their 48,000 five-star reviews. The best sleep I've gotten in years. I wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go. And it's not just sleep. They have plant-based solutions to help with stress, mood, and focus, even pain after exercise, all made with high-quality, clean ingredients. Look, there's a lot of CBD out there, but I trust CB Distillery for their commitment to quality. That's why they have over 2 million satisfied customers and offer a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're still struggling with sleep, stress, or other health concerns, maybe it's time to try something different. CBD from CB Distillery, and I have a 20% discount to get you started. Visit cbdistillery.com and use code JOHN for 20% off. That's J-O-N. That's cbdistillery.com, code JOHN, cbdistillery.com.
Awesome. Chris, how's your connection now?
I hope it's better. I think it's good. I just saw one of the greatest comments in the chat ever. And John, I put it in the chat. I don't know if you'll be able to find it so we can pull it up on screen.
Was it the left nut?
Yes.
I literally said that between commercial breaks as you were signing on.
Darn it.
I was like, yeah, somebody in the chat has an offer for you, Patrick. They are willing to give their left nut.
I'll shave extra close.
And then what you could do is you could probably grind that thing up and turn it into some sort of lotion for him. Rainfall.
Yeah. I don't know how many units I'll be able to put that in, but maybe we could do a limited special.
Yeah, a micro special or something.
Nut-based body butter.
God. All right. Well, guys, tonight's show, there's going to be a little bit of repetition from the Liberty End last night, but we are going to talk about the fires again, and we're going to talk about the Zuckerberg interview with Joe Rogan and that whole op going on. I want your guys' opinions on this, and I know we discussed it for a long time last night. We won't spend the whole episode on it because there's a lot of other stuff we want to get to tonight. We're going to talk about, Tim Pool. That's another weird little thing that happened, him going on with Jesse Waters. We'll talk about the Jack Smith situation and him resigning from the DOJ. Mike Waltz, the new the NSA, National Security Advisor, he had a pretty interesting announcement. Trump met with the governors, and there were some interesting clips from that. We have some interesting stuff with Maduro and Trump meeting with Putin. I mean, we have plenty to talk about tonight. Should be a fun show. But let's start it off. I want to get your guys' take on the fires that are raging in California. And by the way, we did have Jay Trudeau on last night, and he walked us through it. There is some actual pictures and stuff that he had sent me, and I posted. I don't know. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this.
Oh, he had pictures.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I did. There's like a 15-minute clip from Badlands Daily yesterday that Bay Theater Dave clipped and then posted. So I have commentary in there. I talked about it extensively on my podcast yesterday and what I thought it all meant. But rather than focus on the fires in particular, and by the way, I've never said at any point I don't believe damage is done. I know damage has been done there. Okay. I have no doubt about that. What I want to know is what is causing this act of war and what is being targeted, because it seems like there's a strange precision to the buildings being burnt down and the other stuff that we're seeing. But beyond that, when we look at this stuff, a lot of people think that the goal is to figure out what's true. And then there's kind of the next level of that. We know we can't figure out what's true from this far, being this far removed. So maybe we can figure out how they're lying. And then we'll point out how they're lying and we'll call them hypocrites. And then everybody's going to see that they're hypocrites and liars and turn on them. Well, our side, not our side, but the uniparty right are hypocrites and liars too. And they know that. So that's not enough to make them trade over. I think our only job should be figuring out how to not get hoodwinked all the time. And if we focused on that, we would start, I think, with a better epistemology. People get mad. You can't call everything fake. Well, first of all, yes, I absolutely can do that. I reserve the right to do that. I will do that. To the extent that the means through which we get our information can determine truth and falsity, which is like the machine and the TV, the only time that they're actually judging it for you is when they're telling you the wrong thing so they can exploit you. The TV characters tell us what the world looks like, what it's supposed to mean. The best information we get is unreliable. And in that environment, the idea that people are going to go around and just immediately believe whatever they see and read on TV, wherever you get your TV, whether it's on your phone or your computer or on the TV, it doesn't matter. The idea that we're still believing these people when they lie to us all the time on purpose to exploit us intentionally. And we're just like, you can't argue with that. I have emotions now. Well, if you have emotions now because a viewpoint is being blocked from you, maybe you should explore that. I talk about the intellectual kids problem on Twitter. Like there's entire conversations that aren't allowed on there. And I don't think this is a good name for it, but I was like, this is kind of like an emotional kids table. We can't question this or that because people get too emotional about it because it's so important. The most important things where they're inflicting the most psychological and emotional trauma are the ones we need to question the most. Okay. And this is a mass, intentionally inflicted psychological trauma event.
Yeah.
To go on top of what Chris just said, Naomi Wolf points out on her Twitter that she's checked all the hotels and everything. And hotels in LA, and there's lots of availability online. Rooms are affordable. And in Palm Desert, there's lots of availability. Everything's very affordable. There are things happening in this crisis that are just different from other crises. And when people yell Please note that a standard reportorial question at this point in a crisis story is, where are evacuees going? Where did they go? Do they have supplies? They would be being interviewed in wherever they are, and we're not seeing this. It is very important to ask these questions every single time, even if we have emotions. Every single one of these crises that are being shoved down our throats by the television are turning out to have some distinct purpose in the info war. Also, I'll tell you right now, the only emotional reaction I had to the whatever you call it, the fires, the only emotional reaction I had was when Mandy Moore shared a GoFundMe for her brother's equipment because he lost it in the fire. And my only emotional reaction was hatred. I don't really care about the homes of Hollywood actors. I know everybody has a friend who lost everything. Good for you. I'm sorry for their loss. But everything that we're seeing about this event is not adding up. And it's looking to be more like the standard wildfires that California gets on a regular basis due to incredible mismanagement and possible arson.
Yeah, I mean, it is very interesting. First of all, I agree with what you said there at the end about like you have sympathy for the people that are suffering actual losses here because there are actual fires that are happening, no doubt about it. There's damages being done, but like I don't want to pay for it. I don't want my tax bill, that whether or not I pay or I'm encouraging you to pay, that is not what I'm saying, either one way or the other. But I don't want my taxes to go to that. But you still have sympathy for that when you see people going through it. But it is interesting now, like there's this weird narrative almost shift, and it's surprising like how everybody instantly turns on the Democrats and the DEI employees in California right before Trump gets back in here. Like if there's ever going to be like they can't even blame Trump. They want to blame Trump for this, but they can't because he's not in office yet. And this squarely falls on the shoulders of Gavin Newsom and the Democrats and the lesbians that are running the fire department down there. Like there's nothing they can do here except blame them. And I do think that's timing interesting. So is some of this stuff potentially being exaggerated and used for political purposes? Because our side does psyops too. Is this an opportunity to remove some of these Democrat leaders from office? I don't know.
Might be. I'll tell you something else. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No. Go ahead, Patrick.
I don't blame the lesbians. I think the lesbians probably did fine.
Well, I'm not blaming the lesbians.
No.
It's fun to joke about it.
I mean, the lesbian fire chief or whatever her name was. I'd rather have her as fire chief than a girly girl because she ain't girly. I think she might be able to drag me out of a burning building just fine. So,
I did not see that going in that direction.
I did not either. Her parents probably didn't either. So
and she knew her shit when she was on I don't know, one of those clowns on CNN. She was on his show. She had receipts. She knew what was going on. She said, "Look, dude, we have been seriously cut down, and I have been sounding the alarm that we don't have the resources that we need. And even so, we have done the best we can with the resources we have." And she knew her stuff. And I kind of just felt like she probably got screwed over by administrative incompetence or even malfeasance.
Yeah, they're trying to fire her. They had a meeting where they were allegedly going to fire her, but they ended up not doing it. So I'm curious to see where the blame's going to lie. It's clearly Gavin Newsom's fault. Trump is calling for him to resign. It's some pretty interesting times right now. I wish we had another recall election that was coming up in the next couple of weeks because that'd be a fun time. That'd be a fun time to expose some election fraud in the immediate aftermath of this,
or to watch some election fraud paraded in front of us with a big fat grin on its face, knowing we can't do jack shit because we're peasants.
Yeah,
exactly. But the key thing to remember is that they were both elected in 2022, or well, Gavin was brought back in his recall. Karen Bass was elected in 2022. Both of them are totally illegitimate. And so people calling for them to resign and the rest of it, that's totally just a narrative operation, or it's an attempt to shift attention away from the fact that they still pretend that all of these people are legitimate and were elected in real elections. And as they usher them off stage, it'll be Rick Caruso they're replaced with. Now, I've been kind of deep diving on Rick Caruso because I thought something was very off with that mayoral election in 2022. He outspent her 10-1. He was down by a lot, came back to lose just by a little with 8 days into overtime. He immediately conceded and wished her all the best. What's happening right now seems to be intentionally propping up Rick Caruso as the next potential mayor or governor. Rick Caruso got his career in politics started as the commissioner of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. He is a massive commercial real estate investor with a bunch of other businesses. He has a family foundation where they do philanthropy and donate to Democrats. He was a Republican who relinquished the R next to his name when he ran for mayor. He has a law school named after him at Pepperdine, a ear, nose, and throat specialist center at USC named after him. That place did COVID studies. Rick Caruso was super hardcore on COVID, masks, lockdowns, all of it. Okay. Commercial real estate was one of the biggest sectors to get hit throughout the very deadly pandemic. He's a commercial real estate investor, going to make a lot of money on this, going to make a hell of a lot more money once he has the ability to control politics in California. And while we're talking about the water thing, just to close this down, the Resnick family is the family that owns Palm and Wonderful and controls the water supply. They're basically the water magnates of California, a state that we're told gets droughts while Donald Trump says, oh, they're routing billions of gallons into the sea and there's none under California. They control that. I assume they've had a long relationship with Rick Caruso, and the Resnick family donates to all the leftist causes you would think and owns Fiji Water. So you got Donald Trump with the Fijis.
Yeah. Never know. It still blows my mind. It's on
that as an op is much more intriguing to me than Karen Bass DEI.
I don't know. It's all it's interesting seeing everybody freak out. Like I'm seeing stats now. Everybody's like, this is such a tragedy. We've lost 11 people now. And it's like, how many people does that same LA County, because that's where Bill McGurran or whatever was pulling stats for, how much do they lose to drug overdoses every day? How much do they lose to homelessness? How much do they lose to crime? Like you go through all these things where on a normal day in California, they're losing 20, 30, 40, 50 people. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody says a word. But now it's this huge tragedy. Like where's, I don't know. It just seems a little fake. That part of it seems gay to me. But anyway, you had said something there, Chris. It doesn't make sense to me that any place by the ocean could have like not only a drought but suffer from fires like this. I know there's salt in the water and it could do damage and stuff, but how do they not have like a filtration system and like a dam from the ocean to inland, like a big reservoir? They should never run out of water.
They have reservoirs. And the report is that they weren't filled. But the reason for that is, by the way, that the winds were too strong for the planes to carry the water inland. And, you know, people don't like to talk about the weather manipulation stuff, but if you can heat the sky, change pressure, can't you, Patrick, maybe you know more about this than me. It seems totally plausible that that wind could be something manipulable.
Could be. I think that Burning Bright in one of our private conversations pointed out very appropriately that in California, 32 people die every hour.
Okay. That's insane.
So
this is a word.
You're going to freaking emotionally blackmail me over 11 Californians?
Well, there's also $150 billion worth of property.
Well, you know, of course, you know, and you had, so James Woods kicks off the op talking about his house, which is miraculously fine at the end. Mandy Moore decides to, you know, figure out how to infuriate me, which isn't really that hard, but she does a GoFundMe, even though she's a quadrillionaire. And then we're just hearing from all of these really, really unsavory celebrities about how their homes are burning up. And all I can think is, I mean, show me your burnt down homes. I would at least like to watch. But
James Woods showed a video of everything supposedly around his house totally destroyed. And some people who've been in my chat for years have showed me some images of houses on their block that were destroyed. And again, it's one of those things where the houses next door are just fine. Like a house and its yard are just fine, but the car out on the street is burnt beyond imagination. It's all very weird.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like some unnatural? I mean, I think there's speculation about arson. I think that's totally justified. Would make total sense that some of these people coming over the border, using the wind, starting all these fires, trying to make things as worse as possible. You see some weird videos out there where it's like there's lasers and direct energy weapons and all these things. I don't know, man. Like,
you know what else can burn down a house other than a directed energy weapon?
Valley High School.
A book of matches can burn down a house too.
But Patrick, I mean, I think you would say with the number of houses burnt down and the distance between the areas hit, a book of matches would be a house at a time would be an extraordinarily unlikely way for this to have happened.
Unless you have a certain, how many houses burned down? I bet
I think thousands.
I could go to Walmart right now and I'll get you 100 books of matches and 100 scumbags to go light 100 houses on fire.
Yeah, okay, but it's way more than that, and they're
how do we know?
In the wealthiest neighborhoods. Well, because I mean, as far as if you're going to believe stuff like this, if you're going to believe the reports, they're happening all over the place. The woman who sent me pictures was in Altadena, and so this would be Palisades. That's Altadena. There's probably 40 miles between those two places. So is there an organized gang? I highly doubt it.
Why would you doubt that? Organized gangs are pretty much what run our society.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Look, I'm not saying it is organized gangs. I'm just saying, what's wrong with my organized gang theory and compared to your directed energy weapon theory?
Well, I haven't proposed that theory.
And I have not proposed the organized gang theory. We're just spitballing.
I'm just saying an organized gang would be required to have burned down all of these houses with books of matches, no?
Or they could have used,
it doesn't matter what they would have used,
M80s.
But to have houses that are 40 and 50 miles apart and scattered all over a region burned down within the same time frame, that would have to be organized, wouldn't you think?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there would definitely be coordination involved.
Yeah, okay.
I could have swore a while ago I saw a product out there. It's like a gel you can spray your home with, and it stops the fire from affecting it. Have you guys heard of that?
No, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and like how is that not like how do we not have a technology like that for these situations at this point?
I don't know. Probably causes cancer.
Maybe, but the damage they're saying is being done is in like the trillions now or something crazy.
Really?
I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
We're hearing that that fire insurance was canceled en masse. I feel like I'm being intentionally worked up. So I definitely like to wait before I start making huge judgments, but I always start with the assumption that a piece of footage of any kind is faked. And then I say, what about this makes me think it's real? And it is a reversal of the burden of proof. And it makes me sound, a little exhausting because I do start with, okay, show me that this is real. But I have found that it has served me better than starting with the assumption that it's real.
It's a lot harder to get hoodwinked when you don't believe what you're being shown. And it is very, very easy to get hoodwinked if you believe virtually everything you're shown and if you apply your emotions to everything you see on the internet.
James Woods.
I had to scroll through his timeline a little bit.
Based and red-pilled. One of the first thing about James Woods that got my noggin jogging, so to speak, was that he said that Gavin Newsom is just super duper incompetent. that is definitely not what's going on.
Yeah.
A feckless governor not being able to protect his state from wildfires, that is something I can rule right out. If you want, you can make sure that the firefighters have water to spray on the fires. So let's just start with that. We're being told that a reservoir was just crazily drained. And by the way, if this is an op to get rid of scumbags like Gavin Newsom, more grease to your elbow, operators. You know, maybe it's a good guy op, but it feels like an op, just like every other damn thing.
It feels to me like a wealthy water family tried to buy Rick Caruso's way into office to be presiding over things throughout this Build Back Better period. In fact, Karen Bass today said, we're going to rebuild and we're going to rebuild better.
Build back better. Love that.
Yeah. In a conversation, or it was yesterday actually, in her thing with Biden.
Patrick, can you read this?
From Gavin Newsom. I'm calling for an independent investigation into the loss of water pressure to local fire hydrants and the reported unavailability of water supplies from the Santa Ynez Reservoir. We need answers to ensure this does not happen again, and we have every resource available to fight these catastrophic fires.
I mean, I wonder how many fires he's been the governor through. You know what I mean? Like, this happens almost every year, not to this extent, but I feel like after every one, it's like, we're going to make sure it never happens as bad again. And this one's just hysterical because he's calling for an investigation into why there was no fire when, I mean, technically he's the one in charge of his state. He should be the one responsible. This falls on him. Like, this is his responsibility to make sure he's protecting the citizens. And he totally blew it for whatever the reason is. But yeah, crazy
Very
stuff.
true.
We can move on from this.
Before we move on from that, John, I want to point out what Chris is saying about the Rick Caruso part. That clip of that really nicely tanned news anchor saying, we haven't heard from any firefighters that they are running out of water. And then, just as if a director willed it with his mind, it cuts to a reporter in the middle of covering a conflagration saying, actually, Bob, firefighters are telling us that they have no water. And, well, Rick Caruso said that we would need water, but blah, blah, blah. Rick Caruso is great.
You would have thought you need water to fight fire.
I mean, Karen Bass won in a fake election. It seems to me like somebody plugged her in there.
You see this?
Let's see it.
Scumbag.
Have you seen this?
Oh, this guy. What is this guy? Is this the guy that did the Trump debate?
Yeah, he did.
This guy did the Trump debate.
David Muir.
Watch. Look at his back. See his back there?
Is it disappearing?
No, he's clipping his coat tighter so it's form fitting.
Oh,
with the clothespin.
I can't fault him for that. I would do the same thing. I mean, if I was in as good a shape as he is.
Oh, I thought it was pretty lame, but you are wearing a flower shirt, Patrick.
So. I am. You know that.
Oh, I'm just going to start calling you my boyfriend.
Everybody else does.
Just kidding, Patrick. Can we move on to the Joe Rogan Zuckerberg thing?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Because we spent like an hour and a half on this last night. I got most of my frustrations out, but I'm really excited to hear your guys take on this because I know it's always going to be great. But Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan, had this interview. We could even go through the timeline of the Joe Rogan podcast, and it's just, it makes me want to cry. Like, no shit, because of how gay this Twitter feed is right now. The propping up of Zuckerberg as some hero for speaking out against government censorship when he was the one partaking in the censorship while raking in so much money. Like, I can't believe, and people are falling for this. People are celebrating, maybe not in our community, but seeing like the Charlie Kirks of the world and all of Con Inc. They've lost. I mean, they lost me a while ago, but this is something we got to call out. Let's read a couple of these tweets here. There's one that was absolutely insane.
Okay, this is the Joe Rogan. Oh God, Autism Capital.
Yeah, let's do. There's some better ones. So hold on. I should have pulled these up beforehand.
Pushing this thing hard, huh?
Super hard. Here's one. The good old US of A's coming together. Here's the clip.
like I don't want to come across as if like we don't have things that we need to do better. Obviously we do. And when we mess something up, we deserve to be held accountable for that. And just like everyone else. I do think that the American technology industry is a bright spot in the American economy. I think it's a strategic advantage for the United States that we have a lot of the strongest companies in the world. And I think it should be part of the U.S.'s strategy going forward to defend that. And it's one of the things that I'm optimistic about with President Trump is I think he just wants America to win.
What the fuck does that mean, bitch? America to win?
It doesn't mean anything if you're a globalist.
Unbelievable. What does it mean? I want America to win. Oh God, these people are occupying forces in our country.
Read this one.
He spent $400 million plus of his own money supposedly to influence the 2020 election. So did he want America to win then?
So Joe Rogan HQ on Twitter says the cat is out of the bag and the real OGs of internet culture and freedom are ready to lead.
And then like the lives of TikTok. This is the type of the reaction that like why is this a holy schlit moment?
It's just an info op.
This has been common knowledge.
This is scripted. It's scripted info op that launched all at the same time, and all these people are participating in puffing Zuckerberg up as a good guy because the tech bros were all on the one side for the entire time, and now in this year or two before the fake 2024 election, they are immediately on Team Trump, which was undeniable as the winner in the first place, and now they are just continuing to usher in the technocratic Great Reset agenda. It's either one side or the other, and these things are converging. And I don't know why people give all of these people the benefit of the doubt because they like watching them on television. They have lied the whole time. They are going to lie you into your doom.
And just let's be real clear. Joe Rogan is an agent of the enemy and has been for years. This guy in March of 2020 reversed himself on years of saying that MMR and vaccines cause autism and said anybody who's anti-vax is a crazy whack job and should lose their kids. He said that in March 2020. It was right after he got the fucking deal with Spotify. The guy started pushing vaccines at just the right time, and then he started pretending to be based and red-pilled when he had done all the damage he possibly could. Rogan's a shill. Zuckerberg's a shill. These are freaking criminals, and they have to be gotten rid of.
Like, what if Dr. Fauci went on the Joe Rogan podcast and did this whole thing where it's like, you know, I wasn't going to kill everybody with these vaccines, but the Biden administration told me. And then Joe Rogan did this whole thing, how, oh, poor Fauci, it wasn't your fault. Are we going to celebrate that? And honestly, like, how is this any different? Like, for real, because Zuckerberg partook in the same fucking thing. Maybe he didn't make the vaccines, but he didn't let anybody talk about side effects. He stole the election. This is not a good dude. And at no point should we assume that he's going to change that. And even if he was, even if he had a total change of the heart, that doesn't mean shit. You have to pay for the crimes that you've committed. That's a society we live in. There needs to be some sort of justice. It doesn't even have to be retribution, even though a lot of us, and including myself, want that. But we need to see at least some justice here. Otherwise, what is going to prevent any of this from ever happening again? We're going to end up right where we've always been.
I agree with you 100%. I wrote about this today. So I just want to focus on this part right here. You don't have to go through the whole thing. It's called the Mark Zuckerberg Tour. If you want to find it on my Substack, the Substack's on the screen. So, Patrick, I don't know if you want to read this.
I do.
But there's been a very based and red-pilled op to help Zuckerberg leading up to this meeting, this interview.
Yeah. Zuckerberg made other heroic ultra mega moves by placing Ari Emanuel's business partner, Dana White, on Meta's board. Dana White is a guest on many of the InfoOps prominent podcasts and was spotlighted as having been responsible for much of the curation for Trump's podcast tour during the fake campaign. Zuckerberg also went ultra based dark MAGA by deleting something called trans and non-binary messenger themes while ending their DEI program. Wow, utterly meaningless, but a hard and fast guarantee that neither Zuckerberg nor anyone in the info op will ever cuck again. They also decided not to censor for hate speech any longer, but hate speech isn't even a real thing. All of this is irrelevant, but geared specifically to support an advertising campaign encouraging the American public to buy the notion that Facebook is MAGA's friend from the viewpoint of someone who has no idea what MAGA cares about, like Megyn Kelly.
Are we saying don't care about Megyn Kelly?
No, I'm saying Megyn Kelly has no idea what MAGA cares about. Like, they're always telling us what's going to appeal to MAGA through the eyes of people who have no idea what MAGA thinks about anything. And they actively lie about what MAGA thinks and make it up.
True MAGA shouldn't have to be told what to think. We should, each one of us, think for ourselves, disagree on some shit all the time for sure. But we don't need TV characters, as you always say, Chris, to tell us what to think.
We really don't. And until we let them go, we're not going to be doing that. It's really bad, man. Like, these people are very close to leading people exactly where they want them to go. And we see it growing every day. We see it converging, and that's what a lot of this article is about. And by the way, it is worth a look at Ari Emanuel's history and his brother, Rahm Emanuel, the former Obama chief of staff. His other brother is a doctor. And by the way, their father was in Irgun, the Israeli paramilitary. And the brother was the guy during COVID who said that he believes people should just relinquish their lives at 75. They had completed the task and they need to move aside for other people. You know, he owns all of the entertainment industry. Let me see if I can pull this up quickly, because it's actually kind of nuts how many of the prominent actors in the various info ops and how many of the cable television, the cable news characters from the info ops are represented by Ari Emanuel.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I want to read a Rumble rant. It's from Eternal Freedom. As I said, I want to say something, John. Don't begrudge them. They're pacers. My brothers learned of the cure for cancer from Rogan. We were the ones who did it. The wheat and chaff will be sorted in the end. I'm not going to begrudge you for this, because this is a very common thought, but I'm going to totally disagree with you. And this is what I'm going to say. All right. I'm not sure which interview you're talking about. I'm assuming it's the Mel Gibson one. Is that the first time Joe Rogan's talked about cancer cures through fenbendazole and stuff? Because that was like a week ago. Even if it was prior to that, I haven't even been awake that long in terms of in compared to everybody else. And I've known about cures for cancer outside of, traditional medicine and radiation, whatever, for 3.5 years now. Joe Rogan wasn't talking about it then. These people.
Fun fact: fenbendazole and ivermectin are not cures for cancer. That's all horseshit. Just fun fact there. So.
But that's what he's referring to here.
I know.
The thing is about these people.
So there's that.
Every single one of these major issues that we're celebrating Joe Rogan talking about on his podcast, it's something that he has had the resources to learn about prior to anybody. He's had the connections to learn about prior to anybody. And he's had the responsibility to his audience to learn about prior to anybody.
Yep.
So whether or not he actually knew it, I believe he did, and just doesn't say it until it's socially acceptable to do so. That's not okay. And he's only going to continue doing it as long as he's getting the money to do it. That's shit. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I like what you were saying. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm done.
Rogan in February of 2022, when he was going through the whole ivermectin thing, and I'm sure that this is some kind of op, but he publicly accepted censorship from Spotify. He said, sure, you can put warning labels on my content and take episodes down if they need to come down. And a week after that, at the same time, Jen Psaki and Biden, all of them were calling for censorship online. This was in the around the time of the beginning of the Ukraine war. It was clear that there was going to be a greater effort to censor podcasts, and Rogan went right along with it.
If the excuse is that Joe Rogan is here to wake up the slow people, insinuating that slower people are watching him or whatever, Why couldn't he wake him up sooner? Why couldn't he wake him up 3.5 years ago? Why do we have to wait till now to wake him up?
Why can't he wake them up by relentlessly telling the truth about everything?
Always. Exactly. Like, why do you have to delay the truth?
It's so weird to me that everybody's so comfortable with the idea that it's a good thing that powerful strangers lie all the time to their friends and family in hopes that that's going to wake their friends and family up. That is a deranged way to think about the world.
Yeah.
And we're past the time that we can kind of put up with it.
100%.
We have to tear this edifice down of paid liars. And I don't think that the normies are being done any favors by being lied to about 40% of everything instead of 90% of everything.
Joyce Mark says we're never going to get rich on this, and she's never seen the commissions we get from.
I'm working on it, okay?
You're absolutely right, though. We're never going to get rich on this.
Hey,
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. So if we go full uncensored, if that's possible, and maybe that's happening in 10 days, if that time ever happens, we can, if people want to actually support hearing about these sorts of things in an environment that doesn't restrict us and doesn't favor those clowns, and people want to pay us $5 a month, I think there's going to be enough of those people. But, you know, the things we say have been made impossible to reach broader audiences now for 4 years.
Yep. Rich in spirit and friendships.
We are rich in truth telling, says Dana P55.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I had on that specifically. But I do, you know, now the alternative viewpoint. Fox News needed to get somebody super based and super red pilled and super smart and wears a beanie all the time to give an opinion about what this Zuckerberg thing really meant. And
I'm ready. I can do this. I can get through this.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, let's hear from the infatigable. Is that the word? Infatigable?
Indefatigable.
Infatigable Tim Pool.
Tim Pool, host of Timcast. Are you buying the Zuckerberg transition?
I'm buying that he's a fair weather friend and that this is the path of least resistance. But hey, look, we're happy Trump won. So I'll take the power if he's shifting in this direction. But I think when you look at the Joe Rogan podcast, and he talks about, oh, they're yelling at us and they're forcing us to do these things. This only scratches the surface.
Well, so is he saying that he's okay with censorship because now the censorship is on our side?
Just representing himself as our side makes me want to wrap him in chicken wire, John. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, this is, remember, Tim Pool never been censored. Tim Pool never talked about election fraud. Tim Pool. I mean, I have so many.
Anytime this guy could have actually done something when it mattered, he was squarely on the side of Sauron and Mordor. He is a deceiver of epic proportions, a person who has no trace of a human soul.
Remember the time he was like, I don't think Trump should even talk about election fraud because that's voter suppression.
Okay, anyway, let's keep going.
He was also just on Piers Morgan this week, so he's getting out there on the mainstream press. You know, Whitney Cummings did her based and red-pilled takedown of COVID vaccines, and Joe Biden like doing 2021 humor on New Year's Eve with Anderson Cooper and the other gay guy besides Anderson Cooper.
Who's that?
I think his name's Andy something. And now within the last 10 days, she's become one of the new authoritative sources for the awakened centrist normie.
Mm-hmm.
So
Whitney Cummings?
She's a comedian in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
She's being pushed to the fore. Tim Pool's being pushed to the fore. We're getting our new cast of characters for this year. It's going to freshen things up. They heard what we had to say. Hey, we hate all of you. Now you've got these people. You know what? By the way, it's funny because Donald Trump is nominating the entire Fox News cast away from Fox News and into the fantasy team.
And I hope he fires them all. And,
you know,
but then we're gonna get Tim Pool in the Daily Wire people at Fox News. They're just going to, no.
Well,
Let's just never watch it again.
For a little
I
bit
don't.
Maybe a little bit of optimism. It is it's a movement of the Overton window, so to speak. But if Whitney Cummings is the one spitting truth, then that truth is officially stale and useless. The important thing about the vaccines is don't take the vaccine in 2021. It's 2025, Whitney Cummings. The time to open your pie hole was 3 years ago. Nobody trusts you. Your owners have now allowed you to spit this out because it gets ratings and it puts you in a position to chase more clout.
No arguments here. We'll keep going with this.
Facebook built a portal for feds to log in to their company so they could flag misinformation. It has long been known, over a decade, that the federal government, the FBI, the CIA, I think the NSA, had backdoor access to Facebook as well as many other companies. So when Zuckerberg comes out and he's all, oh man, they were yelling at us and putting this pressure. We had no choice to do it. You're only saying that now because the news and the information got leaked over a long and hard-fought battle where activists, real journalists, were exposing them for having done this. Now they're giving us the light vanilla version of, they were just having us censor this COVID stuff. No.
This is so interesting because this is their criticism. Like, this is the harshest that anybody mainstream is going to talk about Zuckerberg. And he starts the whole thing off with like, well, whatever, he's on our side now, so I guess that's cool. And it's premised in that before any of this criticism even comes.
All of his facts are wrong too.
That's true as well.
I used to work in social media management in Los Angeles, and we would manage celebrities and brands. And that portal that he's talking about was built at least, it was like 2016, 2017. That portal existed so that brand clients could communicate with the platforms and protect their brand image online from negative blowback, spam, whatever it might be. So that's totally wrong right from the start. Like that's not something that they built for government. And by the way, the real journalists that he's talking to are Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, Barry Weiss, and all those people who literally received a prepackaged intelligence product called the Twitter Files and then published the stories that Tucker Carlson and Fox News had been running for like the last 2 years before that. All of this is nonsense. It's an info op scheduled to have rolled out on exactly this timeline to protect Mark Zuckerberg right now. And I assume Twitter, because they're doing the same thing that they were before. And Zuckerberg's on here to advertise community notes as Facebook no longer censors. Now we have community notes like Twitter, and those can't be messed with because those are the people. Well, here's the thing. Truth isn't formed by consensus, and your platforms are, as Patrick would say, lousy with bots.
Yeah.
We're also getting the opinion on censorship from people who never suffered from censorship because they never said things worth censoring.
Okay, in fact, they stood silently by and collected checks while all of us were censored.
And if you want to go to the very basest and red-pilledest of the great influencers, go to Candace Owens. I refer to her as my guilty pleasure. I listen to her.
She's got Scott Adams was your guilty pleasure.
I've kind of taken a break from old Scott since the H-1B thing.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll be explaining to us how much America's going to win soon again. But no, you get Candace Owens, right? She goes around bitching about how she's being demonetized. What? 4 million subscribers on YouTube. Now, everybody in this audience understands. But this is important information that needs to be gotten out to a much larger audience, that they're being lied to on a massive scale by their pet freaking based in red pill, by their Benny Johnsons, by their Charlie Kirks, by all of these freaking Freemason scum.
I'm pretty sure I saw that Candace Owens is about to do an episode or did an episode about how Emmanuel Macron's wife is actually a guy. I'm pretty sure, I'd have to go back and look, but I think one of the times we got a strike on YouTube on the previous account was the episode we did about all the transgender spouses of world leaders.
Wow.
And so I'm gonna have to figure that out. So that's true. That's pretty funny that now it's okay for her to talk about that.
That is awesome.
How do we? Yeah, because getting that message out that listen, guys, it's Freemasons all the way down. It's people covering one eye all the way down. God forbid I cover one eye and then I get freaking clipped. But it's the all-seeing eye all the way down. These people work for the Jews. I didn't. That's the thing. I'm branching out from it's the Jews. There's a bunch of them that are Jews, but I think it's way deeper than that.
Well, yeah, of course it's way deeper than that.
It's just a funny clip. I got to use it.
Yeah. Also,
it is a great clip. Wait, we have to also take note of this, that Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro have come out of the closet and now are letting everybody know, yes, we've been together this whole time. And then all of the influencer network is under Charlie Kirk. So it's all the Daily Weimar, as I've been yelling for years. Remember that right after the election, they had that article in the New York Times talking about how this is the new wave. This is how the Republicans won. They put together this vast network. Who was it? Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk.
That's right. Go look at Charlie Kirk's timeline sometime. Search for the words election fraud and see what comes up, because you may not find anything going past December of 2020.
Well, I think
that he wrote.
Wasn't Charlie Kirk present for 2,000 Mules? Wasn't he on their super duper Basin Red Pill panel?
That would be Salem Media. Yes, he was. And Charlie Kirk was on the ground in Arizona covering the fake elections, the midterms in 2022 with that Kerry Lake election that went 3 weeks into overtime.
God. Hey, I'm over the PSYOPs too, chat. It is remarkable.
They're not going anywhere though, guys. That's the thing. The PSYOPs are not going anywhere. You just have to get to a point where you recognize that everything is a PSYOP and stop cheerleading for it. Just look at them objectively for what they are.
I think people are addicted to consuming this information and consuming it in a way that it is reframed to support a political cause, as though there's some election always around the corner and some reason that we all need to be unified and get behind this thing right here. Or we need to push the DEI, or we need to push the woke, because we're going to slam the libs. We're going to own the libs. We're going to slam the Democrats. We're going to finally win this next election. And then 30 or 40 years later, if we win every single election everywhere for the whole time, maybe we'll start scratching the surface on how to get through this thing. All that is bullshit. It's all bullshit. You don't need any of these people. You don't need to be addicted to these stories. They don't change your life, right? Focus on what is ahead. I said on my podcast this week, if power is being handed back to the people have to be able to accept that power. And part of the most basic, at the foundational level of that, is understanding what the hell is happening around us and not being totally clued in to the daily soap opera. There are big picture things happening, man, and we're getting stuck in insane minutia. I got to figure out what's going on with the water supply in Los Angeles because I saw a picture of an empty reservoir. I heard about empty fire hydrants along with DEI. Today, somebody told me that they heard fire trucks from Northern California were headed to Los Angeles to help out, but they couldn't get there because they got stopped in San Francisco for not passing emission standards. And they were like, I can't believe this is happening. It's not happening.
It's fake. It's fake.
That's insane. Yeah, I think people want to feel good about what they're hearing. And when especially people in our community, they see that Zuckerberg is admitting to something that we've all known about for a long time. Maybe some of us got ridiculed by friends and family for this stuff for a long time, whatever. All of a sudden they hear it and they're like, oh my gosh, finally, this is so exciting. I can't believe it. But here's the thing, guys, we're gonna see so many stories like this, truths that we've known for a long time, we've been talking about for a long time. And if we just start celebrating every single one of these, every time it makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, that's the never-ending psyops, and you can't break out of them. You have to disassociate yourself with the lies, and you can only do that by almost getting pissed off that these people didn't speak them earlier. I haven't been more pissed off than I have been the last 3 days after seeing all this bullshit. The Zuckerberg thing put me over the edge. I could not believe it. And seeing everybody on Twitter, and then all the calls for unity and the pace car. Joe Rogan's the pace car of the movement. And Zuckerberg just met with Trump, so this is all part of the plan. Maybe, but you don't know what they talked about down there. You don't know that. So why are we acting like that's the truth? We don't know it.
You're 100% right about that. In terms of the pace car thing, whether or not, like, I don't believe this is good in any way, and I don't believe it's about waking up the normies, but Joe Rogan is certainly the pace car for the entrance of the no-no words into the central narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the role he's serving, like, regardless of whether good guy, bad guy, or anything like that. I don't think it's good at all, of course.
It's still unacceptable, though. Like,
I totally agree.
There should not be a pace car. That's the whole point.
I'm 100% in agreement with you.
We be the pace car you want to see in the world, or something. That can be assured.
It's hard, though. It is really hard because there is so much money in grabbing eyeballs by the bushel. There's money in it because you can sell products. Sometimes you can sell really good products, but it really is this mafia of clout, and they are owned by an even worse mafia of Freemasons or something like that who control the world.
I wonder if we're ever going to get a situation where we're like this. It doesn't happen like this anymore. Like where we actually have full transparency and disclosure on all these topics. And there is no actual censorship on anything, no algorithms, no positivity, no blue check marks, just an actual open source. The tweets that get the most retweets and stuff actually rise to the top, not based on what the algorithm says should be at the top. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that's actually possible.
I think it is possible. And I think it's probably coming soon. I mean, man, there's this, I don't want to go too far off on a tangent here, but this uncensored.ai that just popped up this week, and it comes out on January 20th. And I thought, man, that is weird. And Gab's got their new AI model dropping. Grok 3 is supposed to be coming out within the next couple of weeks. And so, you know, the TikTok thing, the TikTok ban thing is supposed to be getting resolved like the day after, you know, and I think obviously that stuff's resolved from 2020. And I actually believe that it's under DJT, and I think we'll see that in the future, but I could be totally wrong about that. It seems to me to be the same model of what happened with Twitter. But uncensored.ai, so there's these 3 AIs that might come out. I wonder what would happen with an actual uncensored AI and actual uncensored social media. I think this problem could be resolved rather quickly. Yeah, I did a little digging on these guys, and I wasn't able to find a hell of a lot.
Jason Dick seems like a fake name.
But imagine there was an AI that was trained on the Q research boards, for instance. You know, our AIs that we use are trained on the mainstream media and like some college papers and some public conversation. I think that would be a total game changer. And in a decentralized world, I'm not sure it's possible to fully censor someone, especially not if there's that hub that has like all of a person's social media going into it. So if I get censored on Facebook and I don't get censored on Truth Social, Facebook can censor me if in the hub all those streams are coming through and that's where people are following me. They'll just see my Truth Social post instead, right?
Yeah.
I think that might be a potential future model. Also, you know, there are decentralized options out there like Damus on the Nostr thing, so the Nostr protocol. So do
they work? Are they
just don't have
they actually work beautifully. They just don't have people on them.
Well, that's probably why they work so well.
Yeah.
Well, they work so well, I think, because it's potentially a next wave of where this tech stuff is going. But
that's the platform where Jack responded to me at when I asked him a question.
Oh, no kidding. Well, that's really interesting.
Did I ever show you guys
I remember that? No, you did. I remember now.
Okay.
Jack.
I don't remember anything exact about it.
Dorsey.
I also wonder if there's a lot of stuff being held back specifically for once we reach that time. Wait, we haven't talked about this. I saw some of the infrastructure for the inauguration ceremony being built. Or I saw a video, I should say, of that online. I have no idea the provenance and cannot confirm or verify it in any way whatsoever. There are a lot of hints. I think, and a lot of people have their theories about an inauguration potentially not happening. And of course, Trump's having his big victory party the night before. So I kind of doubt it. And we don't have to hit the Venezuela thing for too long, but you know, they call Nicolas Maduro this communist dictator who stole an election. All that's obviously bullshit. He was sworn in again the other day in a very, very small inauguration ceremony indoors rather than the big one. And I wonder if some of that is a preview for right now. His election was 5 months ago, and he was just sworn in yesterday, I believe.
I wonder what that would look like, though. If, like, how would the media react to Trump having this big party, then not having the inauguration, doing something quiet behind closed doors, or who knows, doing it on the night? I don't know how it would work, but I'm curious to see how the media would reframe that, you know?
It seems like they've been trying to control the optics in Washington, D.C. You know, they were putting the fencing up for January 6th. The flags are at half mast. I know that they're trying to pass a congressional resolution and change it or something, you know, for Jimmy Carter. Interesting stuff. Did you guys talk about Obama and that whole thing?
Did yesterday a little bit, like mainly just how you get one picture of Trump being chummy with Obama at a funeral. And all of a sudden, everybody's lost their damn minds, and Obama's been part of the plan the entire time, guys. The entire time.
I mean, I could see that as him being under control for much longer than we would have otherwise thought. I'm open to that at least, but
I don't know.
Like him being a good guy, he seems to have been compromised from a very, very young age. And, you know, he's always been controlled by someone. Whoever owns his compromise is kind of the one. And, you know, I honestly kind of think sometimes that that's what the this is just my theory. Okay. I don't have to convince anybody that's what like the dog comms thing is that's a relationship of control being displayed or potentially severed.
Yeah. But see, you've kind of always approached the info war with that mindset about most things, most people. And like, we've probably even talked about Obama before, and you've probably said that. The thing is, like, what I'm seeing on Twitter and what is driving me nuts is like people who've never talked about this before. The full control changes as the wind blows based on what they want it to be, based on what they see. Like pictures from 30 years ago, all of a sudden, how long is Trump been in on this thing? Maybe, but like what that picture you show does not prove anything. Like that is totally fabricated and bullshit. Like that's the stuff that drives me nuts. Like people looking for the validation of Q, which I don't think needs any more validation. But anyway, I do want to get into what did I have next on here? Did we finish the Tim Pool thing? Should we finish? I probably don't need to.
Yeah, we killed the topic. We got it. We said everything that needed to be said. Tim Pool's a really nasty character, dude. I don't know where he got into the freaking info op war, but man, that is a gross little character.
Yeah.
Okay. The good thing is that they seem to be self-immolating and eating one another.
Fine with me.
If they're actually doing it, maybe that's
James Lindsay went nuts over Ian Carroll, and Ian Carroll somehow ratioed Elon Musk.
And then got censored because of it.
Did he get censored?
Allegedly.
Ian Carroll.
If he did that, he shouldn't have.
Yeah, I agree. But Ian Carroll appeared out of nowhere.
It's true.
With his John Harold mustache and his beautiful little smile. And he says stuff I agree with. And I don't know how he got that, how he went that viral that friggin' quick. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I hope we start describing more people as having John Harold mustaches. I think that's, I'm in for that movement. Real quick, guys, and you may have a couple truth posts or pictures to pull up during this, Chris, from Trump's feed. I want to talk about Jack Smith a little bit because it came out today that he has resigned from the DOJ, which, woohoo, I thought he actually did this a little while ago, but he resigned from the DOJ, and it was in a footnote in a filing. And there's this interesting little, like, not debate, like legal argument going on here about releasing his report. He has 2 volumes to this report. The second one is not going to be released for a while, if ever, because there's still ongoing cases for Willie Nada and the other guy. But volume 1 is like ready to go. Garland wants to release it, but Eileen Cannon down in Florida said, no, we're not going to release this thing. You can't release this thing. And then there's the appeals court came in and said, no, you can release it. And I don't know. So I'm not even sure where this is going to happen, if it's going to happen, but I really hope it does. I actually do want to read this report because this is one of those things where I think we could we could see Jack Smith talking about something that happened during the Trump administration where he's framing it as Trump's trying to do some insurrection stuff. But when we look at it, it's like, no, that's a very devolution-y type thing that he just did there. I want to see all of this stuff. I want to see what Jack Smith has uncovered that Trump was doing leading up to leaving office on January 20th. I think it's going to be fascinating. So I hope it comes out. Who knows? But as soon as it does, we'll let you know, and we'll be going through that thing. Here's some Trump posts.
Here we go. Donald J. Trump on Truth Social. The radical Democrats have lost another pathetic, un-American witch hunt after spending tens of millions of dollars, wasting over 6 years of obsessive work that should have been spent on protecting New Yorkers from violent, rampant crime that is destroying the city and state. Coordinating with the Biden-Harris Department of Injustice in lawless weaponization and bringing completely baseless, illegal, and fake charges against your 45th and 47th president, me, I was given an unconditional discharge. That result also alone proves that, as all legal scholars and experts have said, there is no case, there was never a case, and this whole scam fully deserves to be dismissed. The real jury, the American people, interesting, have spoken by re-electing me with an overwhelming mandate in one of the most consequential elections in history. As the American people have seen, this case had no crime, no damages, no proof, no facts, no law, only a highly conflicted judge, a star witness who is a disbarred, disgraced, serial perjurer, and criminal election interference. Just poetry. Today's event was a despicable charade, and now that it is over, we will appeal this hoax, which has no merit, and restore the trust of Americans in our once great system of justice. Make America great again.
You remember the So Indicted clip from Gart in like the fall of 2022?
My God.
For 2023, I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about. Every element he just listed, he's saying each one of those elements is fake. He says there is no case. There never was a case. That is unmistakable language used by the president. Okay. There is no case. There never was a case. Why does he say that? Because there was never a case. Is it a euphemism? No, he's saying there was never a case. Why? Because there was never a case. The real jury, the American people, that is founder level language he is using. The American people are always the jury. It doesn't matter what the courts say. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says. It doesn't matter what Congress passes. None of it matters except what the American people believe. The American people are the ultimate authority at all times and can rescind every bit of power delegated to the government anytime they want. All right? That's what it is. And we need to understand that. And the overwhelming mandate is exactly what we talked about in the months leading up to the election. He's laying it out right there. And it's funny that he does that in the same week that he highlights that person who came out of nowhere and basically released a Twitter thread that was a compilation of Badlands show transcripts for the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty gay. I mean, it was cool to see that stuff being just.
You guys didn't comment. You guys didn't comment on this. I sent it to you. I had done a segment on him on my show. Then I think Bay Theater Dave clipped it, put it up, and that dude Todd Jacob on Truth Social then like responded to it. That's what I sent you guys. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
What did he say?
I think he just said thanks or something.
Oh.
But he had just started his Truth Social account on January 7th, the day that he put up the thread. Whole thing's so weird.
It's weird, but here's your So Indicted.
I think it's interesting that Trump is like so indicted, and he's also at a college football game today and like popping into a frat house, coming out and like flipping burgers to the cheers of thousands of people, throwing footballs just for fun.
That's panic, Chris.
But he's very, very indicted.
That was funny. I can't wait for Guard Vegas.
We spent a year and a half pretending that wasn't true back then. People called us crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't remember. I can't even imagine how much. There are a few times where I've taken so much heat. And Patrick, I know that same is true of you. John, I'm sure you have a lesser version of it. But yeah, that was one that people got mad at.
Yeah, that's great. Though. I love that. That's so
And
funny.
the good lesson would be, I'm not saying I'm right every time. Definitely can't be right every time. Wrong a lot, no problem. Okay. But if you reject something because you have an emotional reaction to it and don't think about it, and then a year and a half later, you find out, oh, that was true the whole time, you've wasted a year and a half thinking in the wrong direction about that issue. The least you can do, you don't have to believe me at all, just don't get mad. Hear another point of view. That's the whole purpose of all this, right? Hear another way of thinking about things. It's not like the television way works.
It was always fake. From the very beginning, the lawfare was fake. All of it a stage play for us to consume as peasants. And we called it as such from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that there are going to be some there are going to be some nuggets we can get from this report. I freaking hope it comes out. It'd be a great disclosure avenue too, because the left is going to be losing their minds over what's in this thing. So I hope it comes out and there's some good stuff in it. We'll see.
Right. But if you recognize that right away, hey, this is fake, there's still information here that can be valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Then you can remove the emotions, remove the worry about Trump, remove the anger at the fake courts, like getting mad at Mershon and Engeron.
Dude, I don't think that Mershon is a real human fucking being.
Who knows?
I don't think he exists. I think every photo of him is produced just like all the photographs at thispersondoesnotexist.com. Yeah, that's a real website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thispersondoesnotexist.com. All you have to do is go there, click refresh. It'll give you a new photorealistic picture of a person that was generated purely by algorithm. And I think he's one of them. There we go. Thispersondoesnotexist.com. She ain't real. She fake. Fake. Fake.
By the way, so Bay Theater Dave says Todd Jacobs' comment was enjoyed the listen. Okay, wait, I wasn't even looking at this. Let me see.
I don't even know who Todd Jacobs is.
Todd Jacob is the guy with that thread.
He's the guy who had a Twitter thread, basically jacking all of the stuff we've been talking about for 3 years. And then Trump goes and like spent 17 truth posts on his Twitter thread. Like narrative warfare, psyops, all this stuff. It is insane.
Amazing.
Yep. So these are all none of these are real people, is the
none of these are all AI generated.
Every single one generated purely using an algorithm. There's no human being behind it. It's been programmed. He just says, make a person. Bam.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Judge Engeron not Engeron, although boy, Judge Juan Merchan and his daughter, dude. The daughter is fake is fake too. You got to find a picture of him and his daughter, man. That friggin' tipped me off. It's always the same blank ass expression on their faces.
They could just be really boring, like milk toast kind of people, right?
I love that word, milk toast. It's like my second favorite word, second to infatigable.
Remember when Trump called Kayleigh McEnany milk toast and all the DeSantis simps?
Oh, they lost their mind.
Bonkers.
How dare they call her milk toast? She's at least almond milk toast. Okay, we should do the Mike Waltz thing quick, and then we can do the governor stuff. But Patrick, do you want to talk about some?
Yes, lotion? I do. Guess what? We're pregnant. We're going to be having a baby.
Oh,
and
I wasn't expecting you to announce that.
Yeah, I'm announcing that. Right. Yeah,
I'm in the lotion spot here.
We are all the way for sure, and she is pregnant all the way, and we have a healthy ultrasound, and we're approaching the latter part of the first trimester. So we are opening an office because the current office here in this house is going to have to be replaced with a nursery. So it's going to be amazing. And so in honor of that, my dear friends, I just wanted to talk to you real briefly about Epic Minerals, humic and fulvic acids with colloidal silver. Those of you who love colloidal silver, you've never tried it with humic and fulvic acids. And I take it every single day. And one of the things it can help with, in my opinion, is electromagnetic toxicity.
Oh.
You can find that at epicminerals.net, promo code Badlands. And so we're doing a special because we're moving out of this house. No, we're moving the business out of this house. We live in the house. But the business is going over to an office because we're not going to have any room because there's going to be a baby tromping around and basically making it impossible to work. So we're getting an office. And in celebration of that, every single bottle of humic and fulvic acids with colloidal silver from epicminerals.net is 25% off right now through Monday at midnight. So get your nice big fat discount on that. Use promo code Badlands for an extra 10% off. So that's 35% off of the colloidal silver at epicminerals.net. So use promo code Badlands and use colloidal silver. Get using the product and help us to get the office all set up because we need your help too. So check it out, epicminerals.net, promo code Badlands.
Congrats on the sex, Patrick. Good for
Thank you so much.
Good for you.
That's really awesome, man. Great.
I can't believe it. It's happening. So
it's exciting. We have Burning Bright just had one. Now you got one. It's like we're really populating that future compound.
I know. I told Burning Bright actually a couple of days ago before I told anybody else before I told any of you guys, because he was texting me about his baby. It was late at night. He's up with the baby. He's like, wow, this is a lot of work. And I said, I'm going to be in the exact same position come August.
Wow.
Yeah. She's been trying to get you to do baby products forever. So now that might happen.
Dude, it will happen.
There you go.
Only a matter of time.
All right. Hit that thumbs up, everybody, as well. But let's talk a little bit. This is interesting because this has some pretty good devolution ties. Patrick, let's read through a little bit of this article once I get it pulled up.
Exclusive. Mike Waltz to clean out deep staters from National Security Council. We're taking resignations at 12:01 on January 20th. This is the big story as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Waltz, in a phone interview earlier this week, told Breitbart News that he's making sure everyone understands that it's crystal clear what the agenda is. Quote, everybody is going to resign at 12:01 on January 20th, Waltz said. We're working through our process to get everybody their clearances and through the transition process now. Our folks know who we want out in the agencies. We're putting those requests in. And in terms of the detailees, they're all going to go back. What does that mean?
I don't know. He's allegedly cleaning out the NSC. And the reason I think this is so interesting is because there's multiple ties to what happened at the NSC and devolution. Like if you think back to my part 23, Michael Flynn gets in there as the NSA. He brings in Ezra Cohen-Watnick, Rich Higgins, Steve Bannon, Derek Harvey. All these people at the NSC were working on the hit list, right? The hit list squad we've been talking about. And all of a sudden they're gone. They were trying to clear out the NSC, and they're the ones that get fired later on by McMaster. Then at the end of Trump's term, if you remember from Devolution Part 13, it was, let me pull this article up. This is Robert O'Brien, when he was in there at the NSA and was working with Trump. Read through a little bit of this article here, Patrick. This is from NPR in January of 2020.
In an exclusive interview with NPR, Robert O'Brien said he expects to have trimmed about a third of the ranks of the National Security Council by the end of next month. Remember, January of 2020, right before COVID. Quote, I think the reality is by the time we finish up by the end of this month, end of next month, that we'll probably have about 60 to 70 staffers who've gone back to their home agency, O'Brien said. There were about 180 policy staff detailed to the team when O'Brien took charge in September. Experts on loan from the Pentagon, State Department, Homeland Security, Transportation, and intelligence agencies. O'Brien described it as, quote, a little bit bloated.
So maybe this is what he means by go back. Like he's
Yes.
going to send all these people back to their original agencies out of the NSC.
Back to the hellscape that they come from.
And those agencies are allegedly getting wiped out as well. So, but I think this is great. And I think it's Mike Waltz doing this is very in line with previous devolution-y stuff except this time it's like we're not even gonna pussyfoot around it and slowly one at a time. It's just all of them, every single one of them gone day one, 1 minute in. We want nothing to do with them. They're out of there. I think it's great. I think it's great.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that I was thinking he was going to do at the beginning of his first term.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen, and we were still captured by the intelligence agencies. Maybe a lot of stuff had to happen before it could be done effectively.
I don't know. Chris, got anything on this?
This is not something that I've spent time on, so no, not really. I mean, I would rather just hear you talk about it.
Okay. I mean, that was my point on it. It's going to be interesting. I hope it actually happens that way because, like you said, Patrick, we were expecting this in the first term. Didn't get it that way, but there are interesting ties to the NSC, the Hit List Squad, which Rich Higgins' memo, and then Robert O'Brien later on. This is notable. If it actually happens the way he's saying it's going to happen, I think that's a huge deal. So that's all I had on that story. And next we can let's do the Trump governors meeting. Is this video you sent over?
It's a fun one. Brian played it for me yesterday on Daily, and I just kind of want to hear what you think about it, because the dynamic here is who has the information and who doesn't, because this is the sort of thing that you would think. I mean, Trump is delegating authority back to the governors. That's been clear, back to the states for this entire time, obviously. And before, in his first term, he was doing it as well. And they don't have any information on how to defend their states.
Here we go.
A story that kind of disappeared very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you knew you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about 1 day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia, they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about that?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And
hold on. That's not what. Did you see, by the way, tonight? Probably not. The Pittsburgh Ravens game got interrupted. Like they had to stop the game for like 5-10 minutes because of a drone flying over the stadium.
Oh my God. That's so funny. That's hilarious.
Sorry, but this is fascinating. The heads of the states don't know what's going on with the drones within their own states.
It's literally their responsibility to be defending their states, and they have no idea. And he just said it's been like 2 years or something.
What?
And look at Trump the whole time. And by the way, I think it's really funny. Trump's plate is totally empty and unused. He just came in at the right time. Everybody else has these lunches. Glenn has, I don't know, like a
wedge salad.
Wedge salad, yeah. Or like a massive pile of mashed potatoes or something.
What is that? There's some dessert there. That looks pretty good.
It's so weird. Everybody's conditioned themselves to having to root for all these people and pretend they're good because they have R's next to their name. Hey, everybody, we don't have to do that anymore. Okay. Nothing depends on future elections. Absolutely nothing. The Senate and the Congress are totally illegitimate. They don't matter. Trump can already dismantle the federal government and bureaucracy with just what he's got. Okay. He doesn't need anything from the Congress or the Senate. The less they do, the better. In fact, if they just disbanded completely, it would save us all a lot of time.
I don't know, man. That sounds hard. It doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So I don't know if I can do that. I don't know why I did that in a weird accent, but okay.
I think that it's pretty good. You have a decent Southern accent, John.
Is that what that was, a Southern accent?
Just stick with it.
I wasn't sure.
You sound less Canadian.
Maybe they're next Gart in the Southern. When we go to Florida for Gart, I'll bring that out.
I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
I thought he said he didn't know what it was. Now he's saying it was digital surveillance.
It's so freaking weird, dude.
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones. And it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor. You're going to say?
I was just going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating.
They put DeSantis at the end of the table next to Wyoming. That's funny.
This is fascinating.
I can't wait to watch this whole thing. I haven't been able to do it yet.
Me neither.
I don't even know if it's available. I'm going to find out while you guys keep going.
That we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case, us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it from that standpoint. I hope it's not an enemy, but we're going to find out on the 21st, the day after. You have to give me a little time for the inauguration, but shortly thereafter, we'll give you a report on it. We'll tell you exactly what it is. They know, and it's very strange that they aren't talking about it.
A story that
I hope it's us and not an enemy.
What the fuck?
Oh my God.
So how does Trump know some information that the governors don't know that would be national security information because the drones are flying over military installations? And I think he listed the FBI headquarters there. None of them know.
Some briefings.
They ask the fake administration what they are. The fake administration can't answer or won't answer. Oh, yeah, they're hiding it from the governors. No, they just don't know. That guy knows. They're his drones. He essentially just said it. And the governors aren't allowed to know shit from Trump either. That's funny to me. Although that's not how it's supposed to work at all.
No, not at all.
Who was the governor who was sitting next to DeSantis?
Oh, the governor of Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if DeSantis was in a booster seat.
Oh,
and I believe that's Jeff Landry there to Trump's left. And that guy has an awesome accent, only to be topped by Henry McMaster, who's next to him.
Why do they all have 3 glasses?
It's freaking baffling.
One for wine, one for water.
One for Diet Coke.
There we go.
I got nothing on this, guys. I don't know what the fuck the drones are. Trump saying that it's just our people doing research and stuff. Okay, that's a valid, normal explanation. But
it was a fun psyop though for a little bit. Like it's definitely died down a lot for a week. Everybody was freaking. We went through a period where people were saying that the drones were sniffing nuclear material that was missing. To nobody cares anymore.
What if the Sean Ryan Chinese alien technology op hadn't blown up because of the Cybertruck? Would people still be talking about drones in that situation?
I don't know. Good question.
I don't know. That is a good question. Are you saying that op was to distract from the drones?
No. I'm saying they were doing a drone op to seed false information so that people would see a sky event and be like, oh, that's what it is. And their ability to execute on that op was destroyed by the Cybertruck op, which was obviously an op.
See, I feel like the Sean Ryan aspect of that was the op. I mean, they're both, I guess, ops.
Well, sure, that's an op, but the other op blew up the first op, which means, in my view, they're coming from different sides.
Sure. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
One's hostile, one makes the hostile op look stupid and unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, there's another op going on from the intelligence community or whatever. I think her name is Sarah something, telling us, okay, the infiltration's truly here. These awful, unbased and unred-pilled Muslims are here to hurt us all. And it's time now. Oh my gosh, give up our freedoms. And
I missed that up.
It's happening even as we speak. What is her name? Sarah something?
Was that the one that was on with Sean Ryan?
Yes.
So the 2 former CIA agents, definitely not running ops. But I haven't seen the Muslim part of it. Oh wait, that's what James Lindsay was responding to or something, wasn't it?
Oh, possibly. I'm so sorry. I had it just here in front of me, but I'm not.
Or was that the Alex Jones thing? I can't remember. Oh, that's a ghost question because I know he's been all over that thing.
It's a big deal. We are being primed for Islamic terror attacks, I think. And we're being primed by actual intelligence agents, part of agencies that will actually carry out the attacks.
I would say we're being potentially primed for destructive kinetic events that will be called Islamic terror attacks.
That's what I mean.
Okay, I just want to make very
that is what I
clear
mean.
the word.
No, there are no Muslim terrorists who are not paid for by the CIA or a group just like them.
I also think they're going to try to do what they did to Trump in his first term by delegitimizing him in every way possible. And I feel like part of that Sean Ryan op was the war crimes in Afghanistan in 2019 when Trump was president. I feel like they were going to try to find a way to pin that on Trump. And if they can't do that, they're going to try to find other things. Like they're going to fabricate, make shit up to pin on him. I wonder where else these ops are going to feed into it. We'll see. Maybe we don't have to suffer through any of that shit. That would be amazing if that could be the case. But I don't know. My definition of full control certainly does not look like everybody else's, apparently. But
dude, I just think it's a backstop, and the backstop will be there for as long as the backstop has to be there. We're going to keep getting the same stories rerun to us over and over again in more and increasingly dramatic fashion until people understand that they are being hoodwinked and resolve to stop being hoodwinked by rejecting what's on the television and severing their long-term emotional relationships with people like Tucker Carlson. It just has to happen.
For a little bit.
We certainly can. By the way, there was an amazing comment in the chat.
I'm looking for it.
Some guy named Unexpected Gurgle said, how about a Devolution power opera?
Ooh, does that mean you have to sing the whole time?
Well, somebody does. It just has to be a Devolution themed opera.
I volunteer.
I'll write the opera.
There you
somebody
go.
else has to like sing it.
Me, please.
I don't know, bro. I saw you in Deadwood.
God damn it.
I'm just kidding. You have a wonderful voice. That was not your fault.
I need that dude who did karaoke in the other place, Myrtle Beach. I need him to come to Vegas so I can redeem myself.
Oh, that DJ?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I can't remember his name now. He was great though.
Elfin was the name on his name tag.
Elfin?
Elfin. I just, if he could reach out to me at pgunnels@gmail.com. I never got his contact info, and I wanted to ask him what his setup was like on karaoke.
Well, you know what? Actually, we had a couple DMs from people. There's a DJ from Texas named BJ. We have a few DJs in our community. So
DJ the BJ. I know BJ the DJ.
DJ the BJ. Yeah. So we'll work that out. We'll get the opera going. You can redeem yourself in Vegas.
When is Gart Vegas again?
March 6th.
March 6th through the 9th.
All right.
I'm not sure if I want to call it Gart Vegas or Gart Zach's wedding yet. We might change that up.
Oh,
but
yeah.
By the way, we had an amazing Badlands meetup here in Houston, specifically Pearland at 2 A Days Sports Bar in Pearland. It was great. Thank you everybody for coming. Great time. I can't wait to do another one.
And that's run by a Badlander, isn't it?
That bar is owned by Jonathan Munoz, an avid Badlander.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. Love that name. It's a great name. Top 2 or 3 name in the world, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, let's read through this, Patrick.
Okay. Trump and Putin meeting in talks as both leaders aim to address Russia-Ukraine war. President Trump has announced that preparations are underway for a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Speaking at a gathering of Republican governors at his Mar-a-Lago club, Trump confirmed, quote, he wants to meet and we're setting it up. The meeting, Trump stated, would occur after his inauguration on January 20th. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov stated that President Putin has repeatedly expressed his willingness to engage in talks with international leaders, including President Trump. No conditions are required for this, only a mutual desire and political will to conduct a dialogue and resolve existing problems through dialogue is required, Peskov said. He acknowledged Trump's openness to addressing issues through dialogue, saying, "We see that Mr. Trump also declares his readiness to resolve problems through dialogue. We welcome this."
Okay, can we stop for a second? So this article is saying, like, we just want to engage in talks. We want to have these, get an open dialogue going. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, we've had stories. We've talked about this in the Power Hour before. Do you remember this story? Trump had as many as 7 calls with Putin since leaving office. Like, the dialogue has been ongoing. So this is just the story now of the conclusion of what's already been negotiated and settled, for sure.
Yeah.
And Bob Woodward is the spokesperson for this shit.
I would suggest it was all. I would suggest it was all settled about 4 years ago.
Me too.
Probably prior to leaving office. It's a great point, Chris.
Donald Trump has had as many as 7 private phone calls with Vladimir Putin since leaving office and secretly sent the
We don't
Russian
have to actually read that.
Okay. Very well then.
But yeah, that was October of 2024. That was like 2 months ago.
While there are no specific plans for a meeting yet, Peskov noted that Russia is operating under the assumption that both sides are open to such discussions. Apparently, after Mr. Trump enters the Oval Office, there will be some movement, he added. Trump has repeatedly voiced his ambition to bring a swift resolution to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, a war that has raged for nearly 3 years. At the Mar-a-Lago event, he reiterated, "We have to get that war over with. That's a bloody mess."
Looking forward to see how he does it. Something we've talked about a lot on here. So that's interesting. And then I think the final topic that we had tonight was the Maduro thing. Unless you guys didn't have anything else to say on this.
I got nothing. He said he'd end the war the moment he was elected. That didn't happen.
Well, maybe.
He did say it would be not. Don't wait for me to be inaugurated. I'm going to stop that war right after I win the election. He said that.
That is true.
Or I hallucinated it. One of the two. I don't know what the hell's going on.
We shall see how quickly it gets done. I'm looking forward to the meeting. I wonder what sports ball Putin's going to give him this time. I hope it's like a rugby football or a volleyball or something, beach volleyball.
I would like it to be a beach volleyball.
What was that?
I would like it to be a beach volleyball.
All right.
All right, here we go. Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro sworn in for 3rd presidential term as opposition decries coup. Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro has been sworn in for a 3rd presidential term in what the country's opposition movement has decried as a coup d'etat, culminating more than 5 months of dispute over last summer's contested election.
Patrick, I'm sorry. Can I pause for just 1 second? I would love to get your thoughts on this because I talked about this a bit on my podcast the other day. What is it? And I think we should think about that broadly. What does it look like if an illegitimate regime must be removed? Because that's what we might be looking at in our country at some point. And there's some kind of reversed version of it here where they're calling the legitimate president who has been in power and won the election and is coming back into power a coup. And so, you turn that around. If, like, for instance, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're not real in the first place, but if in the scope of the story, they choose to try to remain in power, what happens? Because we were told all sorts of stories about those scenarios because Donald Trump was certain to do it in 2021. And I think it's just at least potential that we could see a reversal of that. What if they try to hold power? What if they come out and say, oh, the election wasn't fair for this or that reason and stop something? I mean, I don't want to go too far off a field here with speculation.
No. You're asking the question, what happens if a leader who has lost the election refuses to leave?
Yes, but even the broader question is,
legitimate.
Is it a coup if an illegitimate government is removed by the power that people want to have in power?
It's a coup to the people who refused to leave. It's one person's coup is the other person's police action.
And what's the fulcrum point there? I believe it's what the people actually believe overall. Like that's the court of public opinion, like Donald Trump talked about in that Truth Social post.
Effectively, that is what makes it a coup or makes it a police action. Or you could just say that, you could also say that public opinion is what public opinion is, or public opinion is whatever the television tells us that it is. And it's those two paradigms competing against each other everywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting question, though, because we've had these discussions in a little bit of a different context, obviously with Trump. Like the argument that it would have been unconstitutional for Trump to have implemented something like devolution. But the rebuttal that I've always said is it's much more unconstitutional to allow somebody to steal an election and go into office. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
So if illegitimate people are in there and trying to stay in there, I mean, they can call it whatever they want, but that's the coup. Removing the people committing the coup is, I mean, they're not going to get away with it. I would love to see them try.
You got to wonder, maybe there's going to be some effort this week. They just got the right to call him officially convicted of a felony, right? He's the first convicted felon to ever potentially enter the White House. Joy Reid was out there screaming the other day that he couldn't go into office because he had committed an insurrection, regardless of what any official sources say. It was that the people should determine that Donald Trump had committed an insurrection and was never eligible to serve ever again.
Yeah. I feel like if they're going to try to do something, they would have done it January 6th or many opportunities before this. But yeah, you're right. They have.
Who the hell knows? Well, if
9 days of.
If they can put something up that suggests that they're canceling the operation or the inauguration, and then Trump is down at Mar-a-Lago being inaugurated, they'll play those two things off one another. Trump's doing it in this unofficial place in an unofficial way. That doesn't count. That's not a real inauguration. It's going to be interesting.
I hope he completely abandons DC. Like he does not need to.
Yeah, Northern White House at Bedminster, Southern one at Mar-a-Lago. Did you hear what he said about Mar-a-Lago the other day in the press conference?
Center of the universe thing?
That part was interesting, but he also talked about how Jimmy Carter gave it back to the foundation and then Donald Trump got it after that. It was the winter White House. He talks about how Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal. Then he gave away Mar-a-Lago, the winter White House, and Trump is taking both of them back. It's almost like Jimmy Carter put those two things in trust of someone else because the incoming regime, Ronald Reagan, and CIA director, one of the evil villains of this thing in a massive way, was wearing Reagan as a skin suit. It's almost like he didn't want them to have control of this stuff.
Interesting. I've never heard it put that way.
Trump's quote, it was really interesting in the press conference.
It's heresy, but I'm very sympathetic towards it.
Yeah. I don't care about heresy at all. We've been lied to about absolutely everything. I've been saying a lot lately, and I think, our buddy Jonathan said it actually to a friend this week and said it actually worked. But the fake news of today is the future's history. And if we consider that about ourselves, like we're in the future compared to the history we're taught, well, it was fake news then too. All right. We got to stretch that fake news all the way back because it actually goes all the way back. This is the regime's program, and it has always been the program.
I love that. Jonathan Gandalf type.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's great. All right. Was there more we wanted to read from this?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's not, well, maybe there was one. Yeah, let's go ahead. We barely read anything. There's a couple notes that are interesting because it almost seems like they are shaping a potential Trump inauguration future.
The ceremony took place on Friday in a small room of the National Assembly, a marked difference from previous ceremonies held in the building's main hall. Maduro was sworn in by National Assembly leader Jorge Rodriguez, who placed the presidential sash on him, prompting thunderous applause from those in attendance. "We've achieved what we knew we would achieve," Maduro said during his first speech after being sworn in. "The power given to me was not given by a foreign government, a foreign president, or a gringo government," Maduro said at the event, which saw Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega and Cuba's Miguel Diaz-Canel in attendance. No one in this world can impose a president in Venezuela. China and Russia also sent representatives. Oh my gosh. Hey, with Russia's State Duma chairman, Vyacheslav Volodin, seen arriving late on a state media broadcast after the ceremony began ahead of schedule. Maduro was proclaimed winner of the country's presidential election on July 28th by electoral authorities under the tight control of the ruling Socialist Party. But Venezuela's opposition has published thousands of voting tallies claiming that their candidate Edmundo Gonzalez had actually won the vote with 67% against Maduro's 30%.
And that was according to Edison Polling, Edison Research, who ran an exit poll. Utterly meaningless. And that's the organization that compiles and publicizes our totally fake election results.
And
so
fascinating.
The rest of this, it's kind of interesting to see the pictures, see how Maria Corina Machado is presented. Trump and Elon both said very nice things about her. The protesters have the right to protest. They have to be treated peacefully. She's being presented here as a hero, as they always do, with the puppets that they're trying to bring to the fore in a regime that they don't control. It's the same story everywhere all the time. This is no different than Alexei Navalny in Russia. It's no different than the one they ran in Belarus. This is what they do.
It's fascinating. I'm curious to see how Trump approaches discussions with people like him, like Maduro, because we think there's something different, completely different going on there. And I wonder if he's going to stop putting up with the bullshit, hostile takeovers from foreign governments down there. Like, I wonder how the next election in Venezuela is going to go if Maduro runs again.
But why does there have to be an election? We think that having elections is the gold standard of what indicates like a civilized, peaceful, modern society.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true. Elections are fake. Elections have always been fake. Leaders of the world are not decided that way. And we have to kind of grow up and get past that and stop allowing this election framework to be used to constantly trick us. Because what it does is convince the people that the thing the regime chose was something we actually decided. And that's never the case.
Yeah. Well, it's a great point. I've heard this before. That's honestly like the Klaus Schwab, and I'm not saying what you're saying is what Klaus Schwab said, but Klaus Schwab said, like, in the future, we don't need elections. We can just have AI determine what people want based on their social media feed and every inch of data about them. And I understand what you're saying. There's got to be a way, though, where we can trust that, because I wouldn't trust, because whoever controls the AI controls the results of that election, if that's what you call it. Like the trust. Where do we get the trust in that we can verify and know for sure that this is what everybody wants? Otherwise, it's just whoever's telling you that is the person in charge.
Agreed. And that sounds like a really scary system. I'm not necessarily a fan of that system, although something might be what's coming in the future. But just like the problem, just like the garbage in, garbage out problem with AI, and this is something I think about these AIs a lot, because everybody's like, well, these AIs are all woke. These AIs are all stupid. Well, it's based on what they're trained on and how people are interacting with them. And so if the people remain ignorant about all of these things because we cannot sever our relationship with the mainstream media and we just consume garbage all the time into us, and then we feed that garbage into the AI, well, the AI is going to be bad. Likewise, if there's something that's interacting with our actual underlying personal beliefs as expressed in all of our activities and every bit of data they capture, and we are still connected to that mainstream TV and being absolutely misled about everything, we're going to genuinely support a lot of terrible things. So that AI can be reading us correctly, and we can still be like, oh, I didn't want that. Well, okay, but all your beliefs, everything you say, all your behaviors, your buying choices, etc., suggest you actually do want that. And I think that that's something that we actually have to wrestle with, because in an important way, we really do want a lot of this stuff from the regime. And it's a matter of actually separating those things while we build out a parallel infrastructure for all of it.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well said. No
so
argument.
have we addressed the fact that this Maria Corina Machado is is like a kidnapping victim of the super evil Nicolas Maduro, and Donald Trump's fully on board with her being a good guy. And and apparently, I guess we're going to try to run a color revolution with this character woman in there. And
I think it's just Trump and Elon keeping their hands totally clean on any contact with Maduro as, the program will begin. I think that was an announcement that Starlink is being sent down there right now, supposedly to help Maria Corina Machado and blah, blah, blah. But it'll really just be there off the infrastructure, the centralized communications infrastructure completely. I mean, Venezuela's been on a sovereign nation for a while, kicked out the regime 20 years ago. And people are like, he's a communist dictator who ruined Venezuela. Well, if you kick the regime out, the regime has the central bankers. What is it that they do? They use the media and compromise and corruption and the rest of it, try to buy their way out of the problems. After that, they start sanctioning the nations. They wage economic warfare against the people. Okay, that's what the sanctions are, because they control the money and they print it whenever they want. And so after years of economic sanctions, right now, if the regime started sanctioning the United States, which would be really hard just because of our arrangement with the dollar, et cetera. But if they were to do that, would we say, yes, Donald Trump, you have to give up. We've suffered enough from the regime sanctions. You got to give up. You got to get out of there. Let's just let JD or Ron take over and we'll forget the whole thing. Or do we batten down the hatches and ride it out for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years? That's what the Venezuelan people behind Maduro are doing. It seems to me that's the macro pattern in the world. So
interesting. You guys ready to go through some rants? I got quite a few.
Let's do it.
You bet.
Boost. Hit that thumbs up, everybody. I don't think we've maybe hoard for likes once, but
just a little bit.
So Patrick, if you want to do a little more.
Hey guys, hit that thumbs up. Really helps us when you do that. We want to get on that leaderboard and be number one. Pretty please, with sugar on top, plus whipped cream and cherry. Hit that like.
It looks like we got a couple boosts. Plymouth Patriots 6157 says, "Hey guys, I have a couple questions. Why isn't anyone giving Ratcliffe a hard time as incoming CIA director?" Good question. I haven't seen any of that. And second, what plans do you think Trump has for General Flynn? Patrick, I love the Castor blend. Can't wait to see you in Plymouth.
Likewise.
And I don't know what to say about any of that stuff. Any of those questions. I cannot read Trump's mind as much as I wish I could.
So you're reading the rants, John?
I was just reading the boost. So we have one more.
Wait, but you're still pro Ratcliffe, though.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I think he's in on it, like in on the devil plan.
Central casting.
Yep. Slade 520 or S20. Charlie Kirk was on the trip to Greenland with Trump Jr.
Yep.
Yes, he was. He also never said a word about election fraud in order to make a bunch of money on YouTube.
We should stop playing the this guy's friends with this guy, therefore this guy's good. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I agree. Wasn't Trump pictured with Jeffrey Epstein at a party? Does that make him? No, it doesn't. Okay, now we got these. Patrick, love you. Do you have them saved and pulled up?
I don't. Not even a little bit.
You're gonna have to read from the top down.
Got it.
On these.
Parallel 8 Media, $20. Subarus are gay AF. Directed energy weapons are real AF. Love you guys. No Diddy. 8-track. Nice.
Way,
I want you to, bro, I need you to buy me a directed energy weapon, please, so I can have one. Micro tool maker.
Did you see Pope Francis today with the allowing gays to be priests?
No way. No way. No way.
You didn't see this? Hold on.
Oh, God. John and I are both Catholics, so we have to put up with this shit.
See it?
Gay men. Oh, okay. Gay men can become priests as long as they don't do gay things. I mean, it's kind of like gay men can be priests as long as they're not gay. It sounds like what he's saying.
Didn't they install that policy like 2,000 years ago or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
I
about what the policy says. It's about
right.
whether or not they follow the policy. Sorry, John, I messed up your
No, it's okay. This is like one of my favorite.
Where does gayness come from, and how is it transmitted?
That is a loaded question.
Where are gay men's vaginas?
They don't have vaginas.
What?
Oh, they're just regular men.
When two gay men have sex,
stop.
How do they know whose penis will open up to accept the other person's penis?
Oh, I fucking love The Office. I'm having withdrawals. I haven't like actually watched the show, and I feel like ever since it went off Netflix like 2 years ago.
It's off Netflix. It's on. I think it's on Peacock now.
Yeah, I don't have Peacock, but anyway.
Micro Toolmaker, thank you so much. $117. What a great place to be tonight with the brightest minds in the world. Thank you for your help getting us through these times where we go one, we go all. Likewise, my friend, thank you. 94 Patriot, $5. It all started with the Sierra Club decades ago. Someone needs to dig into their donors.
By the way,
yeah.
I do want to remind people, Ash just sent me a text. This week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Badlands is going to be covering the Senate confirmation hearings live. So I think we got Hegseth, Bondi, Ratcliffe, Rubio, Noam, and more, pretty much all of them. But look to Badlands. Make sure you're following us over on Rumble and our Twitter feed and everything, because we'll be posting about those. So should be interesting and fun.
90. Okay. Sandiolio, $50. Thank you. Patrick, please tell me more about gravitics. There is one right behind our neighborhood. Should I be worried? Short answer, no. Do not be worried. And also, gravitics is a really big, loaded term. And considering the fact that the universal theory of gravitation is false, I think you should take it all with a grain of salt. The Real MAGA Mama, $5. I work for a major hotel chain. When we have hurricanes, we are slammed with people looking for hotels. During the fires, we put all hands on deck to assist, and no one was calling.
That's weird.
It is definitely weird if, in fact, many thousands of people were displaced. Now, I don't know how many hotel rooms are available in the area, and how many people were displaced, or how many people are claimed to have been displaced. But it's not the calamity that it's being portrayed as in the media. Valseco 16, $5. What's going to happen when we get a legit DEI hire that's based in red pilled? It's going to be hilarious, and we're going to enjoy it. But legit DEI hire, I think it might be kind of a contradiction in terms, because if it's a legit hire, then they weren't hired because of DEI. So, okay, fine. She's a black lesbian woman, but she's really good at whatever job, accounting. She's the best accountant there ever was, and had nothing to, holy crap, can she ever account? Then maybe she's based in red pilled, but she didn't really get hired because of DEI. Or maybe she just, got in because of DEI, and just by accident, she happens to be amazing. I don't know. Very big question.
I'm wondering, as all these organizations are removing their DEI policies and their hate speech standards and all of it, like how Matt Walsh is going to be able to keep up with the process of making trans content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Let me tell you something, Chris. That little weasel is a survivor. He'll find a way. John, did you see the $1 rant with CIA.gov?
There you go.
Star Wars now, the Bohm Aronov effect, scalar interferometry, and Soviet weaponization. 1984, bruh, right during the Reagan years. Star Wars now, bitches. Thank you.
Man, there was a massive activism movement around that Star Wars thing. Everybody was like, no Star Wars, no Star Wars.
Like the movie?
No. Strategic Defense Initiative. Space lasers.
Oh, nice.
Space lasers to blow up ICBMs. The space lasers were fake. The freaking nukes were fake.
Chris is saying no. That's
Yeah,
wrong.
you're not allowed to talk about that, man. You're about to get gatekeeped hardcore.
I want to get Charlie Kirk is going to make me like sit in his lap and get spanked.
There are no space lasers.
Is that what he does for Christmas when you play Santa?
I call it pew pew from upstairs.
Moch Anan, $5. We used Rao Pew units in the Middle East back in 2001 to get clean water from the Gulf. Epic. Rao Pew. I don't know what that is, but it sounds badass.
NASA lost the plans to those. That's why we can't use them in California.
Just like they lost the instruction manual to get back to the moon. They lost it all. Same fire.
I go back to the moon in a nanosecond. Florida Constitutionalist, $5. My ex account. I posted hashtag pink neighborhood book borrow stand. Hashtag pink is the new hashtag blue. Hashtag Maui. Yes. Multi-approach burn. I believe this is a directed energy weapon based post.
I also think hashtags are no longer workable or something on Twitter.
They're not needed.
That's what I heard.
Enjoy them, though. But Elon thinks they're ugly. So anyway, I think that you can just get a bunch of MS-13 scumbags with books of matches to just go start, not books of matches, more sophisticated arson equipment.
Yeah, we have like Bic lighters now,
Counterinsurgent, $10. It's clearly intentional. They stopped 60 fire trucks from Oregon and Santa Monica to make them do emissions testing. Well, we did address that. That's fake. That's fake. But thank you for the $10, Counterinsurgent. The Ka, $5. Let's just cloud seed. Happy New Year's, guys. Yeah. And thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. L. Yance, $54, $1 coat was clothes pinned to keep from flapping in the wind. Yes, but also to show off his luscious pectoral muscles. Dirk McGurkin, $2. Question: isn't what Zuckerberg doing on Rogan part of free speech? Again, what I said last night, free speech is not the issue. It's who gets to censor and what gets censored. Yes, I agree. By the way,
wait, hold on.
Yeah,
I'm confused what he's saying here. Like, of course, what Zuckerberg is saying is free speech. That's not why we're upset. We're upset by everybody saying like, "Oh, this is great. He's on our side now. You can be forgiven." And it's like it's total bullshit. It has nothing to do. He's allowed to say whatever the fuck he wants to say. But
he can say absolutely anything he wants to say from his cell block.
But isn't Dirk's post addressing what Zuckerberg plans to do on Facebook, and that it's his choice as a matter of his own expression? Is that how you read it, Patrick, when you said you agreed, or what?
Free speech is not the issue. It's who gets to censor and what gets censored.
Yeah.
Those two things go hand in hand.
I don't think that we need to have... I think that these enormous social media platforms are foisted upon the people by the government. They're created at intelligence agencies as a way of spying on us. Fine, spy on me. I'm not really all that interesting. But you're sure as fuck not going to censor me on those things. The First Amendment should apply on all of these platforms. And that goes for algorithmic manipulation as well. Yeah. Eternal Freedom, $38. Very interesting choice. 38 has been an interesting number in the past week. I want to say something, John. Oh, yeah, you already got this one. Don't begrudge them. They're pacers. My brothers learned of the cure for cancer from Rogan. We were the ones who did it. The wheat and chaff will be sorted in the end. But in the end, we're all dead. That's what I'm saying, The wheat and chaff. Thank you for the super chat. Camo hat guy, $1. Dana White should buy Facebook. CIA is going to have a flash sale. I don't know, man. I don't know if Dana White's the guy, but maybe. Everybody loves him. He's great. I wouldn't want to fight him. Eternal Freedom, $17. You right. Thank you, Eternal Freedom. Florida Constitutionalist, $10. Patrick, define cure now, please. 2018. MD said, get your affairs in order. What did I do? Go find out. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you for the super chat. Terry A, $20. Part 1 of 2. Gavin's wildfires. Oh my.
What is
2019?
this?
7,148 wildfires, 277,285 acres burned, 703 structures destroyed. 2020, 8,648 wildfires, 4,304,379 acres, and 11,116 structures destroyed. 2021, 7,396 wildfires, 2,569,386 acres destroyed, 3,846 structures. Oh my. Terry A, $10. Part 2 of 2. Gavin's wildfires, 2022. 7,477 wildfires, 331,000 acres, 1,200 structures. 2023, 7,300 wildfires, 332,000 acres, 179 structures. 2024, 8,024 wildfires, 1 million and change acres, 2,100 structures.
2020 was the worst year, and it looks like 2024 was the second, or 2021 was the second worst year.
Well, but maybe it's that the structures were located in places that Mandy Moore cares about.
Don't own a house in California during an election year.
Or any place that they want to do public works projects where they can create an eternal boondoggle, like with the high-speed rail or the homeless housing.
Or the 10 years ago, they voted on the referendum or whatever for a $10 billion reservoir project in California that hasn't seen a single thing happen to it, or whatever it was.
Yeah, they just find ways to steal money from, or more accurately, have the regime print them money, give it to them via the middleman of our federal government. And in the middleman process, they then pin the that debt on the sweat and blood of the American people.
I think some of these super chats are being repeated.
Possibly.
Like I just read Micro Toolmakers 117, and it's word for word the same.
I saw this happen the other day on my stream as well.
John, can you scroll down some? I'm pretty sure this is the exact same super chats.
38 again.
See?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So now the next one is, since Tim Pool owns a farm, I wonder if Kakala had won, would he have Tim Waltz and Chunk Yogurt come to him for sleepovers? P.S. Tim does mention Eric Chamela in that clip.
Cool. Was he saying that on YouTube, anytime in the past 4 years?
Wouldn't
the thing is interesting. I wonder what Zuckerberg, would Zuckerberg have had his come to Jesus moment had Trump not won?
Well, yes, because that was a fake election. They knew what the result of it was going to be in advance. And this is a scripted part of the tech bro resurgence as part of the Great Reset. So this element would have happened no matter what. And he also did not remove any censorship. He did not do anything in favor of MAGA. He simply changed censorship in a way that takes the responsibility off the platform and puts it on others.
He's firing fact checkers, but we have AI now to fact check and
exactly
H-1B visa holders to come do the algorithm stuff. So,
and we have no reason to believe that Community Notes isn't just AIs operating.
My God, yes, it's so true. Dirk McGurkin, $2. When does You Are Now the News equal we get to dictate what gets talked about rather than having psyop after psyop shoved in our faces? You're preaching to the choir, my friend. I think that when the people start saying, I'm not going to believe the TV anymore, we move in that direction.
Get off Twitter. Stop following all of those people. They're not helping you win an election. They're not helping Trump do anything. There's no reason for them. You don't have to get your information from them. They're not getting the right information first.
Follow me on Twitter, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you do stay on Twitter, make sure you follow me and Patrick.
Yes, especially me. Susie Q20, $5. All of these elite fuckers are retarded. Maybe Zach could or has done a William Cooper dig. So I want to say real quick about them being related. I promise you that I could find how Chris Paul and I are related. and I can find how John and I are related. We are all white to a certain extent. Chris, you're Italian, so close enough. But we have common ancestors. My wife and I are 12th cousins.
You.
Dude, you're 12th cousins with everybody you've ever frickin' dated. You can find, now that we have enough sophisticated family tree tracing, and all of the birth certificates are all stored at ancestry.com. Dude, I'm telling you.
You trust that shit though?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact,
that's the one thing you trust.
Well, trust it. Here's how I trust it. I trust it in that if I can actually find a birth certificate written in cursive, yeah, I have a pretty strong level of trust that it's not fake. And so I can trace my genes back, not my genes. I could trace my family tree back, and then I can trace it, and then the algorithm itself can do the exact same thing for other people. So I've already discovered that my parents were both direct descendants of this guy Llewellyn the Great from Wales, so they're 22nd cousins. So when you hear that a couple of whites are related, you got to realize that in a way we are all related.
Actually, my parents over Christmas, they brought out their, because there's some single aunt in both sides of the family that decided to go through and do all that before ancestry.com. And so there's I have a book from each side of my family going back to before they came over on a boat,
Okay.
So maybe I'll have to look through that, and I'll see if I have any princes from Wales in my...
Llewellyn the Great was a notorious whore and made a shit ton of babies with God knows how many women. And that's why a whole bunch of people are direct descendants of him. But if you can find out that people are third cousins or fourth cousins, I think that's a close enough relationship that you can say they're in the same clan. But once you start getting into 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th cousins, it's, in my opinion, they stop being really related in the sense that we think of it.
Interesting.
Our Broadway $1. What if you're wrong about everything and we just got hoodwinked into voting for almost all the people that were previously Democrats? There's a rule of thumb: trust nobody. Fucking A.
And the election was fake, so
there's
part doesn't matter.
Is there a possibility that Micro Toolmaker is busting out this $117 super chat multiple times? I'm going to read it again just for the heck of it. Micro Toolmaker, $117. What a great place to be tonight with the brightest minds in the world. Thank you for your help getting us through these times. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you, Micro Toolmaker. It's great to have you in the chat. 1027JS, $20. Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks for this interesting DPH. And Joe, your Rainfall Smooth, which I made in a special batch just for you, is on the way.
Did you? Oh, that's so sweet. Send it to Fargo, huh?
Yeah, let's see if Rainfall Smooth freezes.
Yeah, call it Ice Storm or something instead.
That's what you live in up there. Keith O'Higgins, $1. My Italian great grandmother had a John Harold mustache. Cranot 59, $17. IMO, this is the closest chance we have had to actually get close. If not at the 13 families, it'll be the first time in thousands of years. Let's don't blow it being consumed by the small stuff. Just saying. I don't know what we were talking about when you wrote this super chat, but I also would like to not get consumed by the small stuff.
It was probably, the Zuckerberg stuff or the Tim Pool stuff.
Tim Pool. I'm going to get consumed by that every time his name gets brought up. Because I had to listen to that fucker after the stolen election of 2020. Virtue signals so hard he got a hernia. And he needs to pay for that. Wedged Gravy, $5. Congrats, Patrick. And Burning Bright 2 on becoming a new dad. Thank you so much. And we're trucking towards that birthday, and it's going to be awesome. Dirk McGurkin. Patrick, are you familiar with dimethyl sulfoxide? I've started using it for pain relief, but it smells awful. Hint, hint. Yes, I am familiar with dimethyl sulfoxide. I have 2 bottles of it, pharmaceutical grade, in my lab, and I have been tinkering with it, trying to figure out how to make it not smell, and I have not succeeded so far. So
you wear an actual lab coat and goggles and stuff when you tinker?
I don't wear goggles, but I do have, I wear an apron.
Nice.
Thank you.
Mad scientist. I want a picture. Have Ashley get us a picture of that.
That'll be, you know what? We ought to do a session where we just make product and You'll see the whole thing. It's fun. It's actually fun. But dimethyl sulfoxide is an amazing substance that can be used for amazing health benefits. And I'm just trying to figure out, it doesn't smell awful. It smells kind of like garlic. And you don't really want to smell like a cheese pizza when you're putting on lotion. Dirty Q, $10. Thank you, Chris. You redeemed yourself with your bicameral take on Trump's truth about no case. You guys clearly lost me with the Con Inc. stuff. We know. And then this is the part where he makes the signal that turns me into a Freemason. Okay, so anyway.
So I think hostile info ops are like, and pointing them out, especially when they're presented as the most friendly people to us, I think that's actually a really important thing. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that. And the proof that people actually know is that no one will be paying attention to those people anymore and reposting them all day long, all the time. And that is still what I see. So I'm going to have to stick with my own interpretation.
But thank you so very much for your command. City Girl Gone Country, $5. The censorship on Facebook started under Obama. Dozens of my friends lost their account for just discussing things they did not like. Then they allowed the nastiest things to be said about Trump. Thank you for that. City Girl Gone Country, $10. That was the beginning of me waking up. How do you protect one president and not another? Zuckerberg crimes did not start under Trump, and I hate that we are only talking like it did. Nice. Thank you very much. Dirk McGurkin, $2. Wasn't Judas the only one with his hand on the table in Da Vinci's The Last Supper? DeSantis has his hand on the table. Just thinking out loud, this has a Last Supper feel to it.
That's funny.
That's freaking hardcore, Dirk. Thank you.
Let's see, we got
Dirk
any
with
more.
just breathing fire. Yeah, there's a bunch still.
Hello. SM Think, $100. John, I was watching an MSNBC segment on the LA fires last night. Mike Rothschild was on and said his house burned in one of the fires past week. SM Think, thank you for the generous super chat. And I will assume that Mike Rothschild made that up.
And if it's not made up, I feel so terrible for him.
Thoughts and prayers for Mike Rothschild.
Also, fuck you, Mike Rothschild.
Aha. $20. Ramble on 365. Patrick versus a brain surgeon. It's a long video, but worth it. I would love you guys to check it out and have your opinion. John, can you snag that video just for me? I need it.
Yep.
It's worth it. So I'll check it out. Thank you, John. I can't snag it from my vantage point. Okay. The Anti-Karen, $5. Great show. Thank you for keeping our minds challenged. Thank you so much. C. Immel, 10, $5. A guest on Rambo and Friends showed an article from Drone Life magazine stating an NDAA allows military to test secret tech on drones over populated areas. It's a Trump NDAA. Could be what we're seeing. Wouldn't that be funny?
An article from Drone Life magazine? Yeah. I guess I need to see it. I'll get in touch with them.
Yeah. The Final Demand, $20. Interesting chat name, by the way. When Trump at the governor meeting said repeatedly after each governor spoke, quote, nobody knows, they don't want to talk about it. Who is they? The federal government or the governors sitting at the table? I don't know. I think it's a very valid question. You know, it's a pronoun with lack of antecedent basis. Lopat 67, $50. Glory be. If this goes through, have had many rant issues tonight based on my words. Whoa, I didn't know that. Thank you for the very generous super chat, by the way.
Thank you.
But
you should run a test. I hear the higher the rant, like $100, there's no issues. So
Grandpa B, $20. The cost estimates of damage are fake and simply support the current climate change costs far exceed the cost of stopping it up. Quite possibly indeed. Boom Diggity, $20. Thank you so much, Boom Diggity. The only cure for the psyop soaked is to go cold turkey. It is true.
I just like calling it out until you see people not responding emotionally to you calling it out. Then you know that's when you win. When I post something about this Rogan thing, and everybody's like, it's a pacer car or whatever. When that stops, I'll know we don't need to talk about them anymore. It's the pace car.
Waking up the normies.
Yeah.
K-Pot 68, $5. Are you familiar with re-inhabited republic for these United States? I am not. Thank you for the super chat. Cranop 59, $7. Geez, Patrick, IMO equals in my opinion. Thank you so much for telling me that. Micro Toolmaker, $17. Here's 17. Sorry, the multiples weren't my fault. Thank you so much, Micro Toolmaker. You don't have to pay us for Rumble having a glitch out, but thank you very much.
Yeah, I would just make sure that you're not getting charged multiples. I'm assuming it's just like a glitch in the chat that it's showing up multiple times. But yeah,
it doesn't even show up multiple times on my end.
Okay. Well, I did the thing where you pop out the chat and it's not like in the stream, so that's probably why. But
okay. Call sign Cujo, $2. I'm your moderator. Totally understand you already get it. I gave actual breakdown. You obviously understand it, so all good, bud. These are more recent super chats. Thank you for the super chat. Micro Toolmaker, $17. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you. And Patrick J17, $5. Congratulations to Burning Bright and Patrick. An update on my son who's almost 4 months old. He's wearing 18-month clothes. What the hell? I want to go to the Vegas Gart for only one day. I'm 65 now. I need a discount. Senior discount.
You're 65 with a 4-month-old. I feel like.
Holy crap.
Based.
Dude, have a nanny.
Yeah. That's all of them. We're caught up.
Epic. But I'm still blown away with it. 65-year-old making babies.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's amazing.
Awesome. And I'm grabbing that YouTube link.
Oh, I got it here. I'll send it in the chat.
And hey, everybody, if you're watching or listening on Rumble, go ahead and hit that thumbs up before we get out of here.
Please.
Oh, and also, is Where We Go One, We Go All After Dark on after this? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it's up. So anyway, yeah, hit that thumbs up, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Good show, boys. Always a pleasure.
Hey, by the way, Chris Bozon, Flat Earth. All right, there we go.
Okay, catch you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Witness the motion picture event that is being called fucking amazeballs.
Do you see the difference in the M there?
It's go time. 25 later on my.
You got a seriously weird ass way of looking at shit.
If you look at the waviness of the little flag that comes out of the R is wavy. The one in the first hump in the M is not wavy. It's just a pure arc. Does that make sense?
We want to warn our viewers that these are extremely graphic images.
Give me a second, dude. This is more autistic than I've ever been before.